Alrighty, let's see what kind of trouble we can get into today.
Well, it's a good game.
Dude, I think that's an understatement, man. I literally made 4,600 steps in the last 15 minutes, just kind of pacing back and forward, man. Yeah, my kids were like, what's going on here? Like, I just go outside, play with something for a moment. Yeah, it was a very good game, but I think we deserved to win on that one. We dominated them the whole time.
Did you check?
It was definitely better.
Yeah, it was one-sided game, but Davies is just too. I don't know how fast that kid is, but he's super fucking fast. And he'll be in Madrid next year, so that'll be fun. All right, well, let me see if I'm sharing. I am. All right, so who wants to take a stab and see what's going on in daily here, profiles-wise? I'm on ETH, I'm volume profile. What do you guys see here?
I'll try for it if no one wants to speak up. A 2-day overlapping value area is overlapping lower. Today's session did exchange the range lower. However, the open today it opened at previous day value area high. My interpretation was of the opening is an open drive until we met resistance at I think it was 5202. Then it turned into a two-way auction for correction activity, and then proceeded higher, but couldn't break above Tuesday POC.
Okay. What do you guys think about that? Anyone? Any comments? Anything you missed?
I think that was pretty good.
We do have a period tail, which I would call it maybe responsive tail, just because it did touched. It was below previous day value area, considering it being responsive.
It is responsive, right? I mean, it's responsive, and does everybody know why it's responsive? Let me give you this. They have a bug in the freaking code on TradingView. Let me change this here so you guys can see something, and let's see if it rings a bell. But that was very good analysis, VP. That was really good. I would say today's day, when you look at it, it might have looked like a very easy day to trade, but I don't think it was one of the easier days to trade, in my opinion, right? So you had to know about the 92.5, and you had to trust that a lot, because that selling in 8 period was pretty excessive. And by the way, this is the bug that they have. I'm not sure how they. Okay, well that's it. I didn't know I was supposed to go here for settings in order to fix this. Would you guys know where to go if it just said this? Because this is a candle profile. I didn't know I could go here. I guess I just did it while I was sharing here.
I had no idea. I've never even seen that before.
Yeah, I didn't. I guess I just did it here somehow. I don't even know how. So I just want to show you guys something quickly here. I posted it last night. Did you guys read the Shorty's Corner last night? I think it would have been very helpful for some of you guys to have read that before today's day. Okay, so what do you guys see here? I mean, when you look at it, these are weekly profiles. It's okay. I don't want to kind of give it away, but it's fairly simple, guys. They're in a bracket here. You know, it's art more than science. If you consider it to be a 3-week, balancing here in a bracket, sure. And then you see the 4th week is the one that broke it, right? So now if they're able to get back inside this range, right? It looks like 51.93 or so based on my quick drawing here. I would say something like this, 92.5. So if they're able to hold this, which today they did, right? What does it tell you? Like, what is it telling you right now?
But if we hold 92.5, that we could, we're accepting that value and could go up.
That's correct. I mean, that's literally it. Because here you're in balance, right? They're telling you we're happy trading in between here. It means there's a lot of buyers and sellers. The range is wide. And then we dip below it using, this right here. Then you went below and then you had 3-week balance instantly here. And now you're trying to go back in. But if you get rejected here, let's say we break this level tomorrow or the day after, whenever, right? Timing irrelevant. Whenever we break this level, this is big. This is large, like big shift in the auction on a larger time frame. High chance they visit this, and I would say this will most likely be cracked this time because this came also from this balance as well. So now we're kind of combining this balance and this balance here. Whatever this 2 weeks here plus 2 weeks here, maybe a week and a half. Now we're kind of accepting this to be the range. Right. So if they can't hold this, ultimately, I would say 49.80 and below would be the test that we get. Okay. It's a very important level that you guys understand and why. I think I did have it on a drawing there, what they have to hold, and that's it. Right. And then when you look at this, right, on RTH here, you have a VPOC sitting at, what is this, like 51.50. I would probably mark that one in. I would put 51.62 as a level. Why do you guys think I would have the 62 as a level here? What importance does this carry?
Support resistance.
It's the change of character, right?
Yeah, but what about value? What about price value shift? How does one confirm that they want to go higher when you are accepting prices? Remember the chart every time.
Retest.
If this is our value area high and this is low, right? I'll just do my best. And we are consolidating here and then we crack out of this and you're coming back. What happens here?
If you hold it, you
reject.
If you hold this, you're gonna most likely make this break this previous high here and go higher. That means you would be accepting and rejecting the value here. And if they're able to do that from this section here, then this little pullback, if it offers it to this level here, I would watch for 61 to see what they do, right? If you short below that, let's say 80 to 63, sure, that's doable, right? In between, I mean, a lot of people, you try to predict what's going to happen. Like this profile right now is a compressed P. Do you guys know what that means?
It's bullish.
Let me ask you this. You guys can answer this question after I explain it. And you guys can tell me if it's good or not, explanation itself. A small P like this and a big P like this. Who has more aggressive buyers?
One on the right.
The big one.
Why? So that's a check.
Because it jumped up.
Yeah.
longer tail.
Right.
Longer tail, but also less time spent at a level means that there's no interest for two-way activity. There's no enough participation because it seems like whatever the demand is, it's pretty high, right? And they're just filling the orders on the limit side. They're just eating them alive. So when you think about this price, right? So if this is the ask and this is the bid, and let's say this is 100, 110, what do you guys see happening here when this P is very long? I mean, these orders are basically just hitting this and eating the price and going to the next level. They're not spending a lot of time. You don't spend a lot of time. In what scenario do we not spend a lot of time? Think about responsive activity and buyers and sellers. When do we not spend a lot of time at a level?
Short covering rallies.
What else?
Value?
Tell me more.
Imbalance.
Tell me more. When it's advantageous to you, when you're trying to snatch up as much as you can in little time as you can. So obviously somebody on longer P's finds this, we're not gonna spend a lot of time. We're just gonna go quickly and buy everything you're offering. You offer, we buy. Just imagine going to an auction for cars and one guy's buying every single car that comes out. You would look at it and be like, what the hell's wrong with you, right? I mean, something's going on. But this just happens with a lot of market participants, right? Either they know something, and then what Bean said, it could be a short cover rally, sometimes driven out of the P shapes. Meaning, I explained it today during live, right? When people, let's say you short right here, like this is the low of the day, and you short here, well, you know, they go lower and you're like, man, this is great. I'm going to make bank. And then they're like, okay, I'll stop loss here. And now you have to buy to cover. And this guy stop loss here. Now he has to buy to cover. And now smart shorts, what they do is they don't short the whole, so they get out and they take a loss. So what do the shorts have to do when they close? They have to buy to cover. So the smart people start buying and you get a little spike. And then it comes back and these people load more puts here, right? They're like, oh, this is just a weak bounce. And they buy more. And then this does this. And then these people cover, and it just keeps going, fueling the fire. And you get elongated P. So now tell me, when you look at the P profile that's compressed and one that's elongated, what do you think is the difference in terms of auction between this one and this one? And which obviously you guys said that this one is more bullish, correct?
Yes.
I agree. But what would
Not a lot of volume.
you can't tell volume. I'm just giving you a TPO P shape right now. Nothing about volume. You could have a lot of volume in D shape, right? I mean, P shape just, but why would you think it's compressed? If it's compressed, meaning not as wide, single prints.
Tight auction.
Say it again, tight auction, yeah.
Tighter auction.
Well, there are
It's
less
moving
participants, possibly.
It's finding value.
Well, I mean, it's not finding value. It didn't find value here, but shortly above it finds it.
Confidence
So the
level.
value and the price are not far apart. And if that's the case, it's easy to kind of go back to that value and traverse all the way too. And most of the time, compressed piece can indicate trapped longs. Okay, so when you think about it, there's not as many aggressive, and then they just have to peak above this P. And what do you think majority of the market does?
Rally.
Buy, and then they're like, phew, and then it turns into a like this. And these people holding, and then they don't spend any time here. You know, they accumulated here. This is distribution, but since there was no volume here, they're just gonna elevator down. Does that make sense? Why is not as bullish when you see a compressed P versus regular P? Same is true
Yeah.
for, I would say, for lowercase b. Okay,
And that's pretty
so
much
it's very
been our-
compressed. And pay attention.
Yeah, that makes sense.
When compressed profiles show up, right? You see that there's going to be, obviously, it's a tight candle, right? And this one is, I would say the range, I'm just eyeballing it here, but for a week, 54 points. When other weeks have been 3 times that. So does it make sense a little bit more now? I mean, you're averaging about, I don't know, somebody take these averages, probably about 160 points a week. I mean, here it goes, 54 points. Doesn't make sense, right? It makes sense, right? They're just consolidating. And the break of this high and low, what do you guys think they could do? This can turn into a double distribution real quick. It's set up for a nice run up here, all the way to about 52.80 or so. I would say they have to cross this level at 51, then they have 80, and then ultimately this zone here. If you guys see this, you guys see this nice little between value area high and low here. I'm sorry, 2 value area highs, and then there's an LVN. Pretty good zone for them to revisit here, right? That's a big level too. And then in here, you have 2 value area highs, right? So you have this one here with a nice little skinny belly above. And then here, this one is going to be massive right here. Because why is this Why is this one important? Why do you guys think this one carries a little bit more weight? I'm
LVN.
talking about
If
this
they
one.
reclaim the bottom, they'll visit the top.
Okay, what else? Which one initiated the break of the balance that we had earlier? Was it this candle here?
Yes.
So if that's the candle, who breaks balances? Is it me and you, or is it somebody else?
Other time frame.
Other time frame.
Okay, so if other time frame is the one that
Institution.
initiated here, do you expect institutional traders to defend their positions 2-3 weeks after it comes back for a revisit?
Yes.
Most likely, yes.
Yes.
So I would make sure that you guys have at least some idea about this candle, right? Zoom in a little bit, see if there's anything odd about it. And there's something very interesting on this candle. What do you guys think that is? Remember, I am on 6. If I go to 4, you might see it.
Single print?
Mm. Have you been here yet? In any other week, have you visited?
No.
VPOC.
So what do you guys think this would mean? Why am I highlighting this one here?
Because there's a double distribution before the week before.
Okay. If this is this, yeah, if this week here is the one that's splitting, right? Remember when we consolidated? I don't know if you guys remember, there was a couple of days that we spent here consolidating, and then we had a nice little dump here. If you can't accept value above here, your odds, if you can't crack this level, let's say here, I would most likely play this POC just to be on the safe side, 85, maybe 86 there. If you can't crack this, that means you're not accepting the value in the final. That means that there's not enough aggressive buyers to get you there. There's a, they crack these levels right here below that we just talked about. If they can hold this, high chance they would auction here. And I think this would be a very good level for shorts to defend this, right? And typically, sometimes what they like to do, you defend this and then they do some crazy squeeze, and then higher above they reclaim. And this is typically a very good entry to short on a longer swing too. You can maybe dabble some early swings, SPY or whatever you trade, like here on a breakout, but then you're playing a little bit more predictive rather than reactive. They go above. If you short here, that's your first tap. Above, making higher highs and resistance. Let it lose it. Let it confirm that there's no strength, and then I would say enjoy the ride down, right, all the way to this 51.92ish. This is a big level here, guys, because it's splitting the distributions on this weekly profile. Does that make sense to majority?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So for tomorrow, what would you guys pay attention to? But tomorrow's Thursday, very compressed profile. I would probably draw these levels right here as developing value area high. I mean, this is tight. This is super tight for a weekly. What could you expect at the extremes here? How would you play the taps and extremes? Is it more likely to hold in this profile or less likely to hold? Please be cautious how you answer and just think first.
Well, because it's a smaller P, it might be less likely, but it's very important if it does break, it's going down.
Okay. Anyone else?
I think it's important to wait. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I think it's important to wait because the range is so tight and small compared to what we've seen in the past couple weeks. And since it's in the middle of the two ranges, I think it's a little bit gambling to take any trades right off the bat until we see if it hits the developing value areas or something like that.
That's very good.
Yeah, I would agree, and I'll be very cautious because last 3-4 months we have seen one support level is working 7 times, 8 times, 10 times. So I'll be very cautious when it breaks. I will not go emotional short instantly.
Okay. Which one is more likely to break? When it's tighter value area or wider value area?
When
Tighter.
it's
Tighter.
yeah.
Okay. So just keep that in mind as you're trading here for this week. The reason why I say that you guys nailed all the points is, I mean, this value area high 62 to 72. I mean, 161 to 572. There's a lot of participation here. So these boys and girls are ready to defend these levels because it offers a pretty good discount when it goes down 100 and whatever, I don't know, 90 points when it goes down and up. That's pretty good. But when you're talking about 27 and 3/4, sometimes it might be, you know, they break it, but you wait for confirmation and see if they can regain it. If they fail to regain it, that means, hey, I'm rejecting. We have no interest back in here. We want lower or higher, right? We don't really care which way they go. But you can play definitely the retest on this, but usually on tighter areas, that they don't offer sometimes a retest that's solid because the area is very tight, so it doesn't take much to move it. This is all short-term traders here consolidating right now. Have you guys seen any higher time frame traders besides today on a profile, on a period?
Didn't you also say how the past couple days the volume's been like excessively low?
Oh,
Or
it's
not,
super
yeah.
low. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's there's not much institutional traders here. We have 3 days that are averaging, I mean, less than, I would say. I think some of them might be the lowest day we've had. I mean, look at this. So yeah, it
I thought
is.
there was some orders in the morning that were slightly inflated, but they still weren't.
You're
you know,
talking about
enormous.
See, tomorrow unemployment 8:30, right? That can be used as an excuse to break this range.
Oh, of course, yeah, definitely. So this is the second lowest 2 days in 2024.
It might break it overnight, Shorty.
Oh, about that. You grind on low volume, you dump on high volume.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me look at the daily profile just to make sure. Yep, so we are in 2-day bracket. You guys know you can merge these profiles now? You guys know that? You can,
Yeah, it's super awesome.
you can merge with the previous profile. So instead of drawing anything like it takes a little bit of time. You see, it's calculating here. And then it'll basically take this profile and combine them. It just takes, maybe it's my PC, it seems to be thinking. So unlike Quant Tower, this is a piece of, you know, it takes 2 seconds to merge. Here it's a little bit, I guess, different. Okay, so here's your 2-day value area high and 2 days value area low. So 13 points for 2-day range. That's pretty wild. And then you have access somewhere here at 5,200, and our spike actually, they went through it today. You guys see that today when they went through it? As soon as they reclaimed it, that's a pretty good sign to not short too much, right? Because they rejected that fairly nicely. Okay.
Shorty, I've got a question about that 82 level. Or 82, 84, somewhere there's a POC under somewhere around there. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we got down to that level. I had initially, and I know that's a little bit of a support, but there's also that magnet kind of pulling it to last week's value area high at 62 or somewhere around there, 68. So how playing that level is kind of risky to do longs or shorts because it could go either way. If you were to play it, let's say it went down to there, how would you do it to protect yourself, but also capitalize the most, or would you skip that level?
That's a VPOC, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a VPOC, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a very good question, right? So considering that we are in a tight range that we are in right now, usually out of tight range, we can get a much more aggressive move, right? Because you're consolidating and it doesn't take much to break those. So if we were to break, let's say this weekly, area right now, 97, immediately where do we go? I mean, when you're breaking something weekly, I want to refer to the weekly levels because you're rejecting weekly value area, right? So if that's the case, ultimate target for me is where's the next value that you had? If you had value, let's say you lose this, 205, well, there's a high chance, you have access here. I would say there's a strong chance you visit 95, and that was developing weekly value area low. So the same concept I would play here. Let's say if this was to play out, let's say tomorrow, right? So considering that this breaks, right, they could go here. They could definitely break here, but I would be cautious here. And it's the same scenario you're talking about. It's just that this is daily to 2 days, right? But then if you're able to go above here, and let's say you reclaim this, tomorrow's going to be Thursday, the only one day remaining, and you reclaim this value area low for weekly, a loss and a reclaim of a value is very bullish. Or same as when you lose it. When you get in and you reject it quickly, that's very bearish. So if you go on the bottom of that 63, and I think it was like here somewhere, let's say 63 right here. So let's say they lose this value. They reject the 3-day balance, I guess tomorrow, 4 days. They reject the lower here. If they do that, I mean, definitely, right? If they go below here, you can wait for this. I would potentially go long here, depending on how the footprints look. Right? If I see any bid coming in, any aggressive buyers, probably look to go along there. But here on 84, I don't know if I would go long here at 84. I wouldn't go long because this value area here is not as wide too. 95 to 80, right? 25 points. He can traverse that real quick. If they come here, they're most likely targeting this, and this would be a pretty good setup, right? You dip, regain, and then go to the extreme. I would wait for confirmation of a loss and then a confirmation of a reclaim to make any positions on something like this.
Okay. No, that's
The
helpful.
best way to protect yourself is to see, because there's a lot of fake outs, right? I mean, there's fake outs constantly where it looks like it's going to go one way and then it somehow just reverses. There's nothing better than the loss and the reclaim on value areas itself. Because if you go below value area, you're expecting who to show up? Who buys below value?
Responsive buyers.
Yeah, they come in and they snatch it up. And if those responsive buyers are aggressive enough to bring it back inside the value, then who takes over the buying?
Initiative buyers.
Well, initiative buyers are not on the bottom. Usually responsive people come in, they're like, oh yeah, we're back inside the value. Because remember what happens inside value. Who trades inside value?
That's the aggressive, like, market orders.
Who's the participation inside?
Short term.
Short-term traders are happy once it's inside value. They buy the bottom, but not necessarily below because they don't have the capital to do that. Does that make sense? Can you guys connect?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, what did I do here? I have no idea how I did that, but that was pretty cool. Oh, there's a shortcut for that. Switch screens. Somebody's gonna say, oh, you didn't know. Okay, so tomorrow I would say, for me, if they want to open, let's open above 10, but they're giving you tight points, guys. Don't expect a lot of points inside the value that's tight. Some of you might be used to the previous weeks, but they're not giving you previous week. They're telling you change your sizing. Because if you're caught wrong with size on a breakout, what happens?
Bye.
Blown up.
You're typing in code save now on Apex Trader.
You want to be tight. You want to size down here. They're telling you size down and trade the range. when it's tight range, that can easily break. So don't size up here, right? Don't size up 10 contracts and expect to, oh my God, I know it, buy the bottom, sell the tops. No, you still size down, right? Your range is really tight, 205 to 211, 6 points, and then upward, is about 7 points. So we're gonna play this, right? As long as they open above 205, ideally they hold 200 at open. That's good. If they reject, right, below this, let's say developing weekly value area low 5197, that changes the behavior quite a bit, right? Then we're looking to see probably the bottom of this, the access low 5178. You do have something here a little bit, not massive, some split, but it's a 2 TPO period. So I would watch this because it looked like it could have done something here, right? At one point we opened and then we just kind of flew here and closed out of it. So I would say if they lose this value area high, there's potentially small bounce here, kind of 5190, and then you have the POC, and ultimately this would be a nice range here, 80 or so. 81 is a fairly important level as well. Do you guys remember we had that on our charts? This one here. It was an important level when we were going up, if you guys remember. But
Yeah, I remember. I thought you were talking about the 83 level at first, but yeah, for going
yeah,
up,
it was 81, yeah. 80, 81 was pretty big. Did you guys notice anything on footprints today? Anyone that's trading footprints or looking at footprints, not trading, using them? Anything that stood out to anyone?
I haven't gotten a chance to go back and look at it, and I didn't notice anything in the first. I only traded for the first 2 hours.
Nice. Yeah, there's a little bit of buying on ES, I would say. Let me see what that level was here. I'm bringing it up. Try and switch it up here. Well, this one lows. This is NQ here on a daily. So this is today's profile here, Q. And I mean, there's some trades here, but not as aggressive on NQ itself. And I mean, this is just dead here. NQ wasn't as crazy today as it likes to get. Let's see if ES loaded. Okay. I'll review to see if there's anything unusual from early, when I switched to imbalances to see what's going on. I didn't really see much aggression, and I don't expect to see a lot of imbalances when we're in a tight range, right? Because there's not much to get out till you break that range as well. And you can see even the profiles are, the VWAP's getting really, really tight too. The bands aren't. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you guys tomorrow, and I'll post notes in Shorty's corner for everyone, so you guys can digest it on your own.
Wait, Shorty.
In the morning, Shorty.
Yeah, I'll be on.
Awesome.
Hey, Shorty, do you always have the VWAP bands on your footprints? Okay.
I usually run one day, and then I like to take a look at the year to date or quarterly. At this time, it would be good to check quarterly VWAP, see where we are.
Cool.
Yep.
Thanks a lot, Shorty.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good
Have
night.
a good night, everyone.
Yeah.
Good night, guys.